Okay, so we are here for a weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, and it is 6 p.m. We're at the Stayton Public Library at 515 North 1st Avenue, Stayton, Oregon, 97383. And as always, if you will join us, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Different cadence facing the other way.
Yes, I like it. Now you're losing parts. I don't know what that means.
Oh. Well, if that came out of my head, we got a problem tonight, yeah. Oh, okay. So our first order of business is public comment. We have nobody signed up for public comment, so we'll go right into our presentations. I want to welcome Keith Campbell, who is the city manager at the city of Stayton. So, Keith, it's good to see you in an evening instead of a monthly breakfast meeting.
Correct. You would normally see each other at 7:30, so this is a little different, a little nice. I just want to do a representation. I thought my time was 45 minutes. I was told 45 seconds was more appropriate, so I'll try to keep that in mind. I want to thank the County Commission and the staff for making this a possibility, for reaching out to us. I think it's a great thing for our community. We're excited to have you here and the opportunity for our community and the area communities to come see the work that you do. I'm thankful for them to helping us set this up and to make this possible. So I appreciate all of you being here, and we hope that we can be a gracious host and hope to see you sometime in the future as well. But this is a great opportunity, and thank you very much.
Oh, it's great to be here. My memories right behind us is no, the community center's over there, right?
Right.
My wedding reception was in that community center many years ago. Yeah.
Well, Keith, you got to give us a little report what's going on at Stayton while we're here, and I hope that's part of what you're planning on.
Well, I was told to do it just a welcome.
Yeah, that'd be good, but I need more.
Sure, there's quite a bit going on right now. We're working on quite a few requests for proposals that are working for a new stormwater master plan, which will impact sublimity as well. A wastewater master plan, which will in fact have an impact on sublimity as well. Looking at our long-term plans, it's been part of our objectives the last few years to update our master plans. So we worked on economic development, we worked on transportation. We've had great community buy-in on those projects and input. So we're looking for input as we continue to move forward with that master plan. We have an RFP out for the Jordan Bridge, so it's another regional item that we want to take care of and maintain. We have budget for that, so we're looking forward to doing that as well. Something else that's recently passed an economic development plan. We'll be working with Marion County and reaching out. We have an intersection that we're going to be partnering with, hopefully, to try to make an improvement. That's the Goff, Wilco, and Schaff intersection. Looking about a roundabout, which I hesitate to say out loud because of Commissioner Brantano's response to that. But
There's always Silverton I can go to.
So we're excited about that economic development plan, and we're looking forward to moving forward, and we're taking steps right now to be aggressive and trying to do that and to look to unlock the lands that we have out there for economic development, for our industrial area, and for future growth. And that intersection is sort of a prime area. We realize due to our transportation issues and we're at the traffic flows that have really are going to kick off some sort of improvements needing to happen, and that's kind of blocking the development of those properties right now. So we're looking to how we can be proactive and partner to open up those opportunities, if you will. I think something else that we kind of want to talk about too is we have been partnering with Marion County. We recently did a slurry seal program. That's been a great partnership between the two communities, or between Marion County and our community. Kind of economies of scale at work, and what we're really seeing is roads are a priority in our community. We passed a gas tax a few years ago, not quite 2 years ago, trying to address our roads. We're looking to put that money and invest in that infrastructure, and that partnership had real significant savings not only for us but for Marion County. And so I think for the taxpayers, all they care about is we want to see our roads taken care of. But when we can partner on these type programs, I know for us it was about a 50% savings, so we were able to double the amount of slurry sealing we were able to do. I know in talking to your public works director, there was savings that the county saw as well, and they talked about those economies of scale. So I think we're looking and have had conversations about other partnerships where we can come together and utilize resources and be wins for the taxpayer, where we can make improvements and do things that benefit both the county and the city, and can do so in a productive and cost-effective way. So we're excited about those opportunities as well. So I think those are some of the things we're looking at partnering with Marion County. I think one other project I want to talk about that we're trying to work on and get some movement on is we have a Mill Creek Park. We have a regional park area, about 45 acres of land. We have a master plan that we have completed, but what we really are going to start looking now is to do grants. Right now, our public works director is putting together a grant. And I mention that here because it really is going to be a regional park facility. We're looking about adding soccer fields, baseball diamonds, other activities that really, I think, will be beyond just the residents of Stayton, but Sublimity and Almsville and Turner, and really a regional type park. So we're really excited about that opportunity and looking forward to phasing out and building out that plan and really making it an asset to the area, to the region, if you will.
Would you like to introduce a couple of your counselors that are here tonight?
Sure. I have two council members here. I guess I let them kind of, David Patty and Paige Hook, and they're sitting up front right here.
Well, welcome, and thanks for being here. Thanks for hosting us tonight.
Thanks for being in Stayton.
Yeah.
Keith, before I let you go, last spring at one of our breakfast meetings talking about the number of, kind of like a housing boom. Has that happened? Is it happening? Are things jumping here? What's going on?
Yeah, we're still seeing a lot of interest at tire kickers, if you will. Most recently, we have Hayden Homes on Shaft Road, which is a county road. I do want to say there was another great partnership between the city and the county and kind of addressing power pole issue and a real significant cost, and a creative solution of changing the standards, but still meeting what the intent of the standards were in terms of road width and then also walking and biking paths. And so as Hayden Homes comes in, we're going to see about 50 homes in that development, and we'll see the continued improvements on Shaft Road to sort of continue to build out that road, which has been another great partnership between our communities. We have other, like anything else, you always have tire kickers come in.
I thought they said there were like 800 potential sites, home sites. Was I making that up, or do you remember what it is?
Yeah, there's a couple locations. We have a large location in our community. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, about 75 acres. That would be something that we've had some tire kickers on. You're always a little nervous to talk about, people who are just sort of checking out and seeing, but there seems to be some interest in a couple of our properties. Another one in the Shaft Golf Club Wilco area as well. That would be a commercial site residential mix, but right now those are still in the preliminary stages. In that same area, we're also looking about a Taco Bell, and we're anticipating construction starting on a Taco Bell. There's been rumors of that for a long time, but we are moving forward, and I would expect sometime this winter for construction to begin on that project next to the Shell station.
It's kind of a coincidence, but 3 of your commissioners have an East Canyon connection, just so you know. So if state needs anything, don't be afraid to call. But the most important question I have, did you ever get that cougar? For heaven's sakes. What happened?
No, we haven't got the cougar.
Get it.
Interesting. We still get sightings. I received a notice of a sighting today. The cougar seemed to be minding its own business, which is sort of what we want. But it's the cougar sighting is an annual thing, and so we're always on the lookout and making sure that we're safe from wild animals as people are out biking at 4:30 in the morning and see the cougar out and about.
Fine.
I do appreciate, I know a couple of you had really long commutes, so I appreciate the 3-block walk and the
2 miles.
the 2 miles that you had to travel to get here.
Thank you.
Did you come from home to get here tonight?
Yeah.
I think you came from the office. Wow. Well, I got to commute up the canyon when I get done, so yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for your administrative work that you do here and keeping us informed. And I thank 2 counselors, and I know Counselor Counselor Hook, your job of raising children in this community and having that perspective and serving on the council is great. And Counselor Patty, we want to thank you for your service to our country and your background, and really appreciate both of you stepping up and serving locally in elected positions. It's really important that we have those perspectives in our community, so thank you very much.
Our Counselor Hook has a great father. How I know this is because I got a flat tire on the side of the road, and he pulled over and helped me fix my flat tire when I had 4 little things in the
sounds
car. It was
right.
about a month ago. Yeah.
I thought that was the first thing we taught county commissioners is how to change their own tire.
Oh, I was working on it. I just need a little professional help.
Oh, great. Well, so thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. Right. Well, we'll move right into our business. So consent calendar. I think it's
It's my turn.
your turn.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the consent calendar. Under Business Services, approve the recommendation to update and add drug screen requirement language for Aid 2 classifications, and inactivate classification number 324, cartographic/GIS supervisor. Under Tax Office, approve an order for a property tax refund in the amount of $23,026.53 to Donald J. Chellis. And that's it.
And I'll second it.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, consent calendar's done. First item under action, and just remind staff that comes up, we're not magnifying the voices, just this is for recording, so speak up so everybody can hear. Under Public Works, consider approval of an incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation in the amount of $1,633,989 for vessel and site improvements to the Wheatland and Buena Vista Ferry through Marion County Boat Program through September 30th, 2024.
That's
And
correct.
Brian, welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. So you have before you for consideration an intergovernmental agreement between Marion County and ODOT. So Marion County has received a federal grant through the Federal Highway Administration Ferry Program. It's a dedicated fund that helps agencies like ours maintain ferry operations. And there's actually 3 counties in Oregon that own and operate a ferry. We're unique in that we have 2. They're both on the Willamette River, the Wheatland Ferry and the Buena Vista Ferry. So these funds will fund 5 specific improvements at those 2 sites. First, we'll be installing backup generator power at both of the ferries. If you've ever been on the ferry when the power fails, you know that you get stuck in the river waiting for the power to come back on. So that is a real problem, and it happened. It happened one time this year already. So we'll be taking care of that by putting emergency backup generators at both of the ferry sites. We'll also be modifying both of the ferries to add actuation to the ferry ramps. So if you've ridden on the ferry, you'll notice there's these 2 ramps that hang off the ends of the boat, and that's what makes contact with the boat ramp. So we're going to actually change how those are constructed and put linear actuators on them, so we can raise the aprons, pull the boat into the ramp, and then drop the apron. Right now, they have a little bit of movement, but mostly they rely on these steel casters that are mounted. And, they have a couple of drawbacks. One, it just tears up the concrete of the boat ramp. And so we have to go in about every 5 years and resurface the ramps. This would take care of that issue. The other thing is, you're kind of limited in how you anchor onto the boat ramp. And both of these boats are on a river. So when they anchor up to the boat ramp, they're relying on friction with the boat ramp because the river is still pushing the boat sideways. And a better way to operate is to pull the boat up and then be able to push that ramp down so it really anchors the boat well. And you can get a much better angle for cars to come up and onto the boat. So part of the project is actually to hire a marine architect to design that modification, and we'll actually be modifying both of the ferries themselves. And then the other improvements are pretty straightforward. We're going to add some tie-off dolphins at the sites. So we have, when the river floods and we need to stop ferry operations, we tie the boats off to some dolphins. In fact, some years we've actually tied off to some cottonwood trees that are on the riverbank, just because we're not so sure how good those existing pile are. This will help us take care of that issue. We'll also be widening the ramps and putting in some catwalks on the catenary poles so we can get up and do the maintenance on the power system a lot more easily. We actually accepted these funds in 2006 under a separate agreement. So you'll notice that this agreement that's before you, it actually cancels a previous agreement and it resets the funding for a rescoped project. So these are new changes that we're going to make to the boat ramp that meets our current needs. So you might notice that this is actually this agreement, the scoping was significant enough that ODOT decided let's just cancel the original agreement and start with a fresh agreement, because we almost literally would have amended the entire original agreement. But this resets the funding, so we have all the way through federal fiscal year 2024 to complete the project. All right. So the total funds, federal funds on the project are about $1.6 million. We're planning to contribute another $400,000 in county funds for a total project cost of about $2 million.
Question for you. Can we use highway funds for that? We use,
We can for certain items, yes. But the ferry funds themselves, they're nice, dedicated funds just for this purpose. But yeah,
but
we
the
can use
1.6 is dedicated, but our funds that we're going to contribute.
yeah, they're part of, we're using local gas tax funds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I always, I remember this when I first got here. I did a tour of the ferries and then I've watched when they pulled them out and then the Coast Guard inspection and all that. And I always thought, if we ever had a big earthquake, we had these ferries, you know, because the bridges in Salem are not, we're not going to talk about bridges tonight in Salem. But if the bridges go down, I always thought we had these ferries that we could, you know, get supplies back and forth, or emergency vehicles at least. And then it dawned on me when I did that ferry tour, it was electric. And we probably won't have any electric power, so these generators are really important. We've been talking about this for probably 4 years now, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. When will the generators be installed? What's the timing on this?
I think we're about 2 years away from
Still 2
installing.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then tying up to a cottonwood tree, those aren't the strongest trees in the world.
Nope. When you see one going down the river,
Yeah.
it makes you think twice.
All right. Any questions for?
Brian, you said this was a 2006 contract originally?
2016. I'm sorry if I misspoke.
2016.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was when the funds were originally awarded for the 2017, 18, 19 step.
And why did it take us so long to? finally move on this?
Well, we've had some staffing issues, and one of the changes we're making in some of our project delivery is we put all the contract vehicles in place so we can start to employ consultants to help us meet our contract guidelines. So this one is actually going to go out to a consultant to design the majority of the project, just because we don't have an electrical engineer on staff and we don't employ a marine architect that can do boat modifications.
Got
So, yeah. So it'll help us make sure that we deliver this one on the new schedule.
Super.
I don't have any questions. I mean, it's pretty obvious something you want to do, but just because I'm thinking of it, and perhaps people that wouldn't normally be watching this, just a little discussion about the private boat launching in the Buena Vista area. And the statement I would make, and I hope you concur, is we haven't found that ability yet. In the last remodel, it went away, and that access went away. But we are aware of it, still working on it, and would love to have it there. So anything else to add than that?
No, we actually, yes, we've pulled all of the original ferry boat funding language from Federal Highway, from their guidance documents. Just trying to look and see did we make the correct interpretation the first time, and largely our use of the ferry terminal for a boat ramp, recreational boat ramp, we discontinued because that was ODOT's recommendation. We've gone back to take a second look. And I understand the reasons why, but there could be some options. We're still
that'd be
investigating
great.
what our options might
All
be.
right, Chair Cameron, I'd like to make a motion. I'm just going to move the recommendation that we choose option 1, approve and sign the supplemental project agreement between ODOT and Marion County.
And I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Brian. You're going to be here later for the town hall. Appreciate it. Okay. Next item under the sheriff's office. Consider approval of amendment number 2 and number 3 of incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with Chihuahua Indian School through the Federal Bureau of Indian Education, extending the agreement term through June 30th, 2020, and adding $356,674 to provide rural resource provide school resource officer services.
Yes.
I think that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. For the record, I'm Joe Cast. I'm the Marion County Sheriff. I brought with me Jeff Sturrud, who's the new Enforcement Division Commander, and his team supervises both of these contracts we're going to talk about, the first one being the Chihuahua Indian School. We have, within Marion County, in the East Salem Service District, at the very north end of it is the Chihuahua Indian School. There's over 400 students that attend that school. And that school's been in place, I believe, since 1880. And we started providing contract services there in 2005. Often, we've had up to 3 deputies there. We currently have 2 deputies that are contracted there, and they work 9 months out of the year. And then in the summertime, we reassign them somewhere else. And so the contract does the school year, the 9-month school year, basically. Those 2 deputies are there at the school with the students and interact with those students on a consistent basis, and it's very helpful in that East Salem service district area to have those deputies work in that school area. In that capacity, we have those deputies. They're pretty much on campus, staying on campus the whole time throughout the school year with whatever the school needs them to do. There's not a lot of calls there, but it is busy for them with the interaction with the students that are there to help build those relationships and continue to help those kids grow and learn and just grow into society themselves. Those students are from all over the Northwest. That federal enclave up there is a boarding school, and so those students actually stay on site there. And so we are asking that we extend that contract that we've had through June 30th of 2020 in the amount of $356,374.
Questions?
Congratulations, Commander.
Thank you.
It's the first time we've seen you since you got promoted.
Yes.
So we're awfully excited to have you leading the enforcement team over there.
Thanks. I'm excited about it.
I did a ride-along down there in Jefferson with Deputy Olson the other day, and
And he didn't leave you in the car and run off.
he didn't leave me in the car. He did bring me into the house, though, when a burglary was called in, which I was like, I think I'd rather be in the car, actually.
With 1 bullet, I think.
Yeah, there was no bullets, and he was the guy with the vest.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you in front or behind?
I was behind.
That's
I was
the
very
question
much
to ask.
behind.
Okay.
No, but it was very good and safe and very professional. So, credit to your team. And we called in some help, and the deputy who responded, it was his first day solo. So that was pretty exciting too, because I know you're bringing on a lot of new deputies, and so it was good to see one of them out in the field.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
Just some comments, because I was here when they started the program, and I remember that every time a renewal, we've had people from Bureau of Indian Affairs, principals from the school, and it was a big deal. And the sheriff made one comment that I think kind of just says what's going on. We don't get a lot of activity, but that wasn't the case 10 years ago. And so that just attests to the relationships and working of the programs. Pretty happy with it.
And you and I went out there, was that about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When they had their youth court? We
Yes.
got to witness that they actually have their own, well, how would you say it? Well, it's
Peer
Peer
review.
court. Yeah.
Yeah.
our district attorney should know about that stuff, right? Yeah, yeah. Welcome, Paige. So yeah, and they do their peer court out there, and they actually enforce their own judgment, discipline, and it was really great to see that happen. So, and I know our officers participate in some of that, and it's great. Our sheriff's deputies. So
They were just normal, nice kids too, I can tell you that. It was fun.
yeah, but to stand in front of your peers, and it was interesting to.
We might do a peer court on you someday. I never thought about that.
I think I get it every week.
I think they hold each other accountable as much or more than maybe others might.
Yeah, they do. Good. Okay. So we can take a motion.
I think it's my motion.
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
do something else, though. Because the East Salem Services, we've talked a lot about that, but we're bringing on new deputies there next month. Is that right?
Just a few days.
in just a few days.
There'll be 5 starting in October, beginning of October, and then as more so, we'll be bringing the rest on wintertime.
And this is a big deal because East Salem takes up a lot of your resources, your enforcement
Absolutely.
resources, right?
Yeah.
So bringing those folks dedicated to East Salem will free up resources for the rest of the county. That's right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Good. I know it's been a long time coming, and Chair Cameron, you had a lot to do with that. So thank you for making that
I
happen.
want to do a ride-along over there when we get some graveyard stuff on a Friday night. That'd be kind of fun.
We'll put you with Deputy Bangs.
Well, I trust that
Make sure I have a canine.
Okay.
once we have all those deputies out there, it'll be quiet, just like this.
We hope so.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve amendment number 2 and 3 of the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with Shamawa Indian School through the Federal Bureau of Indian Education, extending the agreement term through June 30th, 2020, and adding $356,674 to provide school resource officer services.
And I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. And still under the sheriff's office, our last item of action is consider approval of incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Salem Kaiser School District J24J in not to exceed amount of $171,607 to provide school resource officer services through June 30th, 2020. We're still up.
Still up. So, Mr. Chair, we have a school resource officer that's already in the schools. We've done this for several years, since 2009. We've had a school resource officer in the schools over there. We serve about 2,100 students in those schools, and that officer is, this covers 75% of that officer's salary over the 9-month school year as well. And then in the summertime, we reassign that officer as well to do other duties, depending on what we need throughout the summer. The funds is going to cover the $131,000 is their salary, and then they also have $40,000 for overtime, which depending on what type of school events, they may have folks that need to come in after hours, work for a variety of issues after hours at the school on overtime. The Salem Kaiser School District is in the East Salem Service District. As the commissioner pointed out, that is where 55% of our call load is for the sheriff's office. Of the 1,140 square miles, that little area is 55% of our calls. And so having these school resource officers, or having this school resource officer in those middle schools, is invaluable to the relationships we have with those students. And it helps, obviously, with the other officers coming on board with the East Salem Service District, being able to have those relationships building with that school resource or school resource officer, and then these other deputies will come in and will be helpful as well. But that relationship in the schools is invaluable in interacting with those students as well. As a matter of fact, the East Salem Service District, one of those schools designed the patches that our deputies are wearing. The arts students in that school put a bunch of designs together, and one of those designs was selected to be put on the uniform of the deputies that are working in the East Salem Service District. And again, that contract with Salem Kaiser Schools, it took a little longer to get that done. They had some transition with their security director this year. We have a new security director there who also used to be a Marion County deputy way back in the day, but he's over there now, and we've got this contract ready to move forward.
Great.
If I could, I can kind of figure how it goes. There's one person between several schools. Is that the setup? Spend so many hours a day at each one, or
Yeah.
on call? What happens?
It's mainly focusing between Houck and Adam Stevens, the 2 middle schools. They do some at some of the other smaller middle or grade schools, but most of it is between those 2 schools, and they split their time depending on what's going on in each school. So
Do they have facilities in each school, or they?
Yes.
So, and then there's also a security director at overall, or at each school, or
Overall at
school
Salem
district?
Kaiser.
Oh, so that isn't any direct help. Okay. All right, thank you.
What's this work been like over the last several years? I mean,
What was the question?
what's this work been like? What sort of security issues have come up at our schools in East Salem?
There's a gauntlet of things that happen there, all the way from school threats of school shootings to truancy to just normal student problems that he or she helps deal with. I don't know if you can think of anything specific, but it's a broad array of issues.
Yeah, and specifically, the deputy that's in there is on the threat assessment team. So when we get those threats, he has the time and focus on those, the resolution for that, and works through that. A lot of it is building that relationship with the kids, early on, so that helps on later on in life. But it's really a lot of different calls like we would deal with out in the public. It's just in the school.
Do we have the same person there year after year? I mean, is this a long time deputy who's been there, or does it change a little bit?
It has changed over time. Deputy Bangs that the sheriff mentioned was in there a couple years ago. Now we have Deputy Mike Bell is in there just recently for the school year. He was in the schools 3 or 4 years ago and then came back.
Okay.
So it's one of those positions where the deputy really has to enjoy and have a passion for that kind of work.
Sure.
So.
All right. Chair Cameron, I make a motion that we approve incoming funds and intergovernmental agreement with Salem Kaiser School District to provide school resource officers services through June 30th, 2020.
I second the motion.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Yeah. And Sheriff, you're going to be here. Commander, will you be here too during town hall? Great. Thank you very much. So that completes our official business. Commissioner, if you want to read the calendar where we're going to be next week, we will do that. And then,
See where we go?
yeah,
Okay.
then we'll go into our town hall.
Okay.
Just for those that are watching for the first time, at the end of every one of our board sessions, we read all the meetings where 2 or more commissioners will be, or potentially will be, in the next upcoming week or so. And you can also see this calendar on our website.
So today is Wednesday, September 25th at 6 in the evening, and we are at a board session in Town Hall here at the Stayton Library at 515 North First Avenue in Stayton. Tomorrow, Thursday, September 26th at 9 in the morning, we have a finance update work session located in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of our building. That's 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. Later that day at 10 a.m., that's September 26th, we have a work session on the Salem Hospital construction update, again located in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of our building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On Monday, September 30th, 8:30 in the morning, we have calendar review located in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of our building. That's 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And calendar review is where we do this. We talk about where we're going to be for the next week. September 30th, Monday at 9 a.m., we have management update located again in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of our building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On Tuesday, October 1st at 7:30 in the morning, we have our 11th annual Giving People a Second Chance breakfast located in the Kaiser Civic Center, located at 930 Shamawa Road North in Kaiser. On October 1st at 1:30 in the afternoon, we have a work session on our employee healthcare benefit plan renewal located in the Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor of our building. That's 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On October 2nd, that's a Wednesday at 9 in the morning, we have board session located in the Senator Hearing Room on the 1st floor of our building, again 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. On October 2nd, that's a Wednesday at noon, we have the SEDCOR Quarterly Board of Directors Luncheon located at the Center for Business and Industry at 626 High Street, Northeast in Salem. And then Wednesday, October 2nd at noon, we have a Woodburn Marion County meeting located at Luis's Taqueria, 523 Front Street in Woodburn.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes.
Well, I thought I'd give you a little commercial time, this second chance breakfast. Commissioner Carlson worked on it for years. You've taken it over, and I've watched how busy you are. I assume it's sold out as usual. If not, perhaps people can still get in. I don't know. And really, if you could tell people what we're trying to accomplish by having it.
Yeah, so thanks, Commissioner, for that. It is at the Kaiser Civic Center. We've moved it from Salem-centric outside the city of Salem to Kaiser as a signal to say, hey, this is about further out than just Salem. It's our 11th annual Second Chance Breakfast. We have, I think as of yesterday, we had like 310 people or 315 people. Huh?
We're close.
3:45.
Close to being full, but
We-
not full yet.
Yeah, we always know some people that have signed up may not show, but if you haven't signed up, you can still sign up. You can go to our website and sign up, or you can drop your name off and we'll make sure you get registered, give us your email and your name, we'll make sure you get there. Doors open at 7 a.m. I know that's early. And the event starts promptly at 7:30, and we will have you out the door at 8:30. We have a couple of our movie stars are in the room. Commander's back there. Excuse me, the new undersheriff is back there, and also Deb. They're in some of the videos that we've done, and you're going to see some features of. We're going to feature Jackie Winters, and Senator Winters spoke at our second annual breakfast back in 2010, and we've edited down a speech that she gave. I watched it today.
Still works.
I watched it today. I had tears in my eyes watching this speech that she gave about redemption. Ted Winters, who Governor McCall pardoned, basically, and then hired him into his administration, gave him a second chance, and Jackie talks about that in this video, and ends up being her husband. And it's pretty moving. And the work she talked about then, and that Governor McCall was working on then, and then Jackie was working on, we are still working on today, with some great successes that the undersheriff will be able to share briefly some of the results that Marion County has achieved under former Commissioner Janet Carlson's leadership. And we're going to continue that work on. So if you get a chance and you can come and participate, and we raise money, the breakfast is totally paid for. In fact, our sponsors this year have contributed more than what we needed, and that'll go into this client fund. And the client fund is used for people who are coming out of Department of Corrections or that are on supervision, and they need their driver's license or their ID cards, and they don't have the funds to do that. Our parole and probation officers can help them use those funds to do that, or they need glasses, or there's some special things that these people need. And that money that we raise at this breakfast, whether it's $20 or $100 you donate or $1,000 you donate, goes into this fund, and our staff uses that to help these people turn their lives around. And I think the biggest thing is in the last, you asked me to talk about this.
Well, I know.
Use it the whole night. So
No, it's important. I'm going to add one.
I think the biggest thing is if you can look at our recidivism rate, which is when people come out and in 3 years they commit another crime and potentially go back. You can see our recidivism rate in the last 10 or 11 years that we've been working on this has continually gone down. We are far above or better than the state average. And we have people that are productive citizens paying taxes and have reunited with their family as a result of all the work that the stakeholders in this group have done. And some of you may know some of those people. In fact, we have our lead coordinator who works for our health department, Josh, went through our SOAR program, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And he's now helping people and working as an employee for Marion County and doing great things. So if you can come and hear the story, it'd be great. If you can't, you can donate anyways. And
I want to add one.
Great, yeah.
I had a childhood acquaintance and pretty close to him as a kid, but I hadn't seen him for a long time and heard he was in trouble. But he was there about 5 years ago and took me aside and he says, "Sam, without this program, I'd be dead." So that got my attention. It matters.
And our closer this year, as I call her, is Christy Perry, who is the superintendent of Salem-Keizer School District. And she's going to show a video about what they're doing through this outward mindset training that's been going on through the valley. What some of the teachers are accomplished at North Salem. There's a video about this that's about 8 minutes long, and how just because these teachers, like our parole and probation officers, are focused on the individual child's needs, these are semi-adults basically, are turning their lives around when these kids probably would have just gone down into the ditch someplace and maybe been in the public safety system in some way. So thanks, Sam, for
Yeah, I won't ever ask you anything.
Because I'll use the, you know me, give me a microphone and it's all over, right? So I'm passionate about that.
Yeah,
and-
yes,
and
it's all right.
It's okay, yeah. Okay, so we will start our town hall. The first presentation, obviously, we just finished. No, just that wasn't on our agenda. Our first presentation is about the 2020 census, and Lisa is here from the board's office. She's one of our senior policy analysts. And Lisa, thank you, and I know you've got a team that's working on this. So,
Thank you, Commissioners. Good evening. Yes, the 2020 census is quickly approaching. Marion County is working with our cities throughout the county to make sure that we get the word out, that we really have a targeted focus to reach our hard-to-count populations. The census is mandated by the Constitution every 10 years. It's been going on since 1790. And the point of it is to count every person in the country on that day. So Census Day is April 1st, 2020. Actually, they're doing it online this year, so you can start doing it. You can start filling out the census mid-March. They're going to be sending out postcards. The Census Bureau will send out postcards around March 12th and ask you to go online, fill out your census. There's 10 questions. They're really easy questions, just household demographics. There's the questions, it's all they want to know is demographics so they know how to allocate funds for the services we need. So Marion County does have some areas that have pretty hard to count, high concentrations of hard to count populations. We have some areas in Salem, we have some areas in Woodburn, and actually Stayton had a 23% no response rate last census. So 23% of the population, they figure about $3,200 per person per year comes to the area based on the census count. So 23% of Stayton is almost 1,900 people times $2,300. What is that? It's almost $6,000 a year.
6 million.
It's a lot more than that.
Is
6
it?
million.
Oh, yes, okay.
19 times 30.
Yes. For Stayton, just for Stayton. So when you think of Marion County gets $1.3 billion a year, based on the census numbers from 2010. This year, the 2020 census, Oregon stands to gain another representative. So it's really important to the state that we get that representation. The county is working with the state. There's an Oregon Complete Count Committee out of the governor's office, so we're working closely with the state. Also, like I said, local cities. And the legislature actually awarded $7.5 million to an organization called Dancing Hearts that is really targeting the hard-to-count populations. So they're figuring out throughout the state where these populations are, the concentrations of them, and how to get the word out, and how to get them to fill out the census. So another interesting thing about Stayton, where did it go? About 20% of the population of Stayton doesn't have a computer in their home. But the census is on the computer this year. So this coming year. So that's going to be a challenge for those people. So one of the things I've been working on is reaching out to community partners to try and figure out who has computers. The library has a bank of computers. So maybe the library could be a place where people, they would welcome people in, they would extend their hours, they would do some specific targeted outreach to people that don't have computer access at home. Currently, enumerators are going around and canvassing the areas, different areas across the country to verify addresses. So there are a lot of new communities. There are a lot of dilapidated buildings that may have once been homes. They're verifying addresses. This started in August. So if you see somebody walking through your neighborhood, knocking on doors, people are a little hesitant to answer the door. Census workers will have a census laptop, says U.S. Census on it. They have a bag. They have a Federal Census Bureau badge. And they would only be asking very basic questions. The 10 questions that are on the census: name, address, phone number, gender, age and date of birth of the people in your home, names of the people living at the address, the relationships in the house, and then race, and then Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin. Those are the questions. So if they're asking questions that aren't those, you might want to verify that they're actually a census worker. We do have, everybody has this page on their chair. On the back of the page, it has our website, mccounts.com. We're keeping information there as current as possible. The new information hasn't come out recently, so we haven't updated it. We did have a newsletter go out when the canvassers started going out in August, but we're going to keep that updated as we get information from the state. We're kind of trying to follow the state's lead on this because we don't want to give mixed messages. The state and the Federal Census Bureau are working pretty closely, and we are on. The county has representation on the Oregon Complete Count Committee team, so we're keeping pretty close contact there. Our hard to count populations are typically children under 5. So you think of, people they're busy when they have young children, and they don't think that they're, or you just had a baby. You don't think if you had a baby today and it's census time that you need to count that child. But in the next 10 years, that child's going to be going to school. It's going to be needing resources. Your family may be needing resources. The money that comes to the area is for roads and schools and Medicare and housing and all the services that our community uses. Seniors are another population that are hard to count. Young adults, so the 18 to 26-year-olds, they just don't think that it's important. Low income households, immigrants, homeless, and then people with disabilities. So we are working with our community partners. Community Action Agency is going to be doing a targeted focus on our homeless populations, and other nonprofit organizations are really helping us reach out into the community to get people to respond. So the goal is everybody's counted once, and they're counted in the right place.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
if anybody has any questions.
I do.
Yeah.
So Lisa, do you think that 20% or 23, whatever Stayton's, does that apply out across the county, what do you think? Is there something unique here that isn't being caught? What?
I don't know why it's who. I mean, we can look really deeply into that and figure out who those targeted populations are, which is part of my job over the next few months is to
So we'll
figure out.
blame you if we don't get it? So
No. So this isn't my question. What if people don't fill it out? No. We really will target. It could be, senior housing. It could be the hospital. It could be non-English speaking people. The census is going to be in 57 languages. So also something I need to let you know, it's online. However, you can get a paper census. So you can call the Census Bureau. They'll send you a paper census. You can fill it out on the phone with a census worker. People will come knock on your door if you don't fill out the census. If you don't fill out the whole census, they'll also come knocking on your door. So they want the whole census filled out. They need that information. They need to know how many children live in Stayton because they have to know, do we need to fund more schools, or do we need to fund more housing? We know that Marion County has grown in the last 10 years population-wise based on our housing needs and our needs for other services. However, the numbers don't necessarily show that if people aren't filling out the census.
Couple things. One, when you said we get billions of dollars, I want to make it clear it doesn't come to us.
No. It goes to all
total
of our
federal funds that go around to different places,
Right.
et cetera.
Right.
We have all funds budgeted about $500 million, almost. Second thing is that there may be some people that came in, and I had announced at the beginning, and we're starting this town hall earlier. I know we had a board session and then a town hall scheduled at 7, but we're going right into these presentations. So we're going to be able to go through, we have 6 presentations. We just finished with Lisa's. And if you have questions, if you can write those down or try to remember them, at the end we're going to have an open discussion. We can have people come back up and answer those questions, whether they're about the census or other presentations or other things that you want to hear about tonight. So, Lisa, thank you very much. Appreciate
you.
it. And I stole this one's thunder, but.
No, I think I did.
Well, Sam got me talking about this, but Deb, you want to come up and talk about all the
Maybe
things I
we
left
missed
out?
something, or maybe
Yeah,
you want to say it all again.
She's the one actually doing the work. We just talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Commissioners. The one piece that I would
You wanna
like to
introduce
say.
yourself for the
Deb
record.
Giard with Marion County Community Corrections, Program Coordinator. The Marion County Reentry Initiative is a collaborative effort with employers, education, nonprofit agencies, various organizations. It's truly an effort in our community to help people be successful. So the bottom line with that is to help these individuals rebuild their lives, strengthen their families, get re-engaged. This breakfast alone has increased opportunities for people with employment, to secure safe, stable housing, to receive A&D or substance abuse treatment, and various avenues in everyday living and life activities. The funds that we raise through this breakfast, you have mentioned the Oregon driver's license and the glasses. One of the things that happens is, as I work with employers, one of the biggest areas and based on the construction that's going to happen in Stayton, are construction jobs. So we need basic tools or steel toe boots. So for someone to start work in a construction environment needs the boots. And so we're able to help an individual and the employer, because we know that employers need a good, solid workforce. And this workforce, the second chance workforce, is one that is ready and available, and these funds just help them and help them up, give them a hand up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I will say this, Deb, I co-chaired the Second Chance Oregon tour last year with Genevieve Martin from Dave's Killer Bread, and Deb was a huge part of that team. We went around the state and talked about trying to knock down barriers of employers needing to hire these people, or what their misperceptions were on insurance and all kinds of things. And it was a very successful tour, and I want to thank Deb and acknowledge all her work that she's put in over the years, many years.
How long
Thank
have
you,
you
Chair.
been running SOAR for us, Deb?
I have been involved with the SOAR program since day one, January 2010.
And how many students have come through SOAR?
Our latest numbers were 693, and of that, 473, I just saw those numbers, over 450 have graduated successfully, so.
And these students are folks coming out of prison.
These are
Right.
high-risk men who are coming out of prison that meet a certain criteria of the crimes that we allow for the program, that have a substance abuse issue, and we work with them on restructuring their thinking and helping them get reunited with families, work with them with employment. It's all wraparound services.
Well, thank you
It's
for
a
your
it's a 12-week
dedication.
program where they're getting intensive services.
We just had
On a college campus.
On a
That's
college
what's cool about
campus.
it, Chemeketa.
It is at Chemeketa Community College. The students, the men in the program are considered Chemeketa students. They get the student ID, they get access to the facilities, and it's that stepping stone also for next step for education or certifications as a welder or any of the programs that they offer. And it's, we're tied into the college, and that is fabulous. It's a great partnership and collaboration.
I think a lot of times we talk about redemption and we talk about the men in the program. But, just the other day we had a meeting about LEAD and how they now have 37 folks who are homeless in Salem enrolled in their program. And most of them they have housing for. And that's Josh Lair, who's a graduate of SOAR. So it's not just good for him. It turns out that it's also helping our community, right? When
Correct.
The work that you've done, often very hard work, right? I mean, I know Josh said no to you a couple times before you finally convinced him. And it's one of the things I appreciate so much about you, Deb, is you're just dogged. You don't take no for an answer, and you don't give up on anybody. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Do
part of-
I look beat up?
That's Sam's fault,
Yeah.
not Deb's.
Part of that partnership that we have with Chemeketa is, also with their staff in providing the education and employment resources, but also with the health department and their substance abuse treatment program, because they're providing on-site treatment. And it's, You know, when you have that interaction with individuals who are dealing with substance abuse issues, and you have someone immediately, it makes a difference.
And Carrie Muller's here tonight. So thank you, Carrie, as well.
Great. Thank you. See you October 1st. Oh, what is it?
She's got another announcement.
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
I don't, but seeing that you took so much of my time,
She doesn't take no for an answer, does she?
okay. Thank you,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair. The Marion County Alcohol and Drug Planning Committee has put together a conference for Friday and Saturday, which Commissioner Willis will be opening remarks for us. It is on opiates in pregnancy, neonatal opiate withdrawal syndrome, and beyond. This was a grant that we received through Salem Health with the help of Dr. Coelho from Salem Health. That was a SAMHSA grant to market the services of how to help women who are prenatal, natal, and aftercare for drug-addicted mothers. This conference is, we have 150 people attending for the 2 days, and we have it primary for medical facilities, medical partners. The doctors will be there, the nurses will be there, so it's for the medical care, A&D treatment providers, social service workers. So it's really to educate people on how to use and how to deal with and what resources are available to deal with the stigma of these women who are addicted to substances, and what's the next steps for the child too.
What time and where?
It is on Friday and Saturday, September 27th and 28th at the Kaiser Civic Center. And that is at 930 Shamawa Road in Kaiser. And
What
feel
time
free
on
to join.
Friday?
Registration's at 7:30, and we will begin at 8:30 with Commissioner Willis and his opening remarks.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.
Okay, we had a couple of people, I think, from our Veteran Services office today. Or we just got one?
He's big
Well,
enough for
yeah, you
two.
could be two of us.
Thank you for having us,
Yeah.
or me. Chris just moved here, so he's here as a state night, I guess.
Oh, very good. He's going to ask the hard questions later.
Yes, that's what I'm worried about. I am James Riddle. I am the Veteran Service Officer in Marion County. We have 3 total Veteran Service Officers, myself, Tim Boykin, and Eddie Granger. Chris here is our front desk guru. When you call or stop in the office, he's the one you're going to meet with first. Our office is open Monday through Wednesday for walk-ins, 9 to 11 a.m. and 1 to 4 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays, the Veteran Service Officers are usually out of the office with trainings or outreach and sometimes home visits when needed. But on Thursdays and Fridays, our office is open for access to Chris and informational purposes, drop-offs. We're closed the last day of every month, so we can do our end of month reports that have to go into the federal VA, and 12 to 1 for lunch. Apparently, we have to take those. We get a lot of questions as to why we're only open for 3 days a week. During those 3 days, we have been seeing between the 3 VSOs on average about 100 people on those 3 days. Since July 1st, we've seen 1,247 veterans in the office. It's not counting phone calls. I feel sorry for Chris because he's up to about 150 phone calls a day, and it's never ending. But we love it.
Yeah.
We have, this month, we were able to start our first off-site location in Woodburn at the Woodburn Estates and Golf, 1776 Country Club Road in Woodburn. It is the first working Monday of the month. Eddie Granger is the VSO that is going to be out there from 9 to 11 and 1 to 3. And again, from noon to 1, we're making him take lunch. He was out there this month. He saw 4 veterans. On Tuesday, he was back in the office. He received close to 75 appointment attempts for October. So, and also we were approached by other locations in Woodburn asking for us to set up a offsite location in their establishments. We are also starting on the 3rd working Monday of the month out in Mill City at the Santiam Outreach Community Center, 280 Northeast Santiam Boulevard, again, Mill City. They are generally open, that building itself is open Wednesday through Saturday, but they've worked with us to open up on Mondays to reach the citizens of Marion County that can't make it into Salem. And hopefully that will expand our footprint and ability to see more veterans in the canyon. That is about it for us. If you have questions, we'll be here. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, James. Any
Just that there's a lot more demand than perhaps we anticipated, and I'm happy that you have 3 VSOs now, so they're all trained. Where are we at?
They're
Getting there.
Yes, it's a year-long training. Tim was our first rehire. That was April 1st, and then Eddie came on May 7th. So we still have a long way to go before they're truly accredited, but they're coming along very quickly.
Now, State Veterans Affairs said they would help us up and back us up. Are they? Do you have any?
They are.
Okay. Not enough?
There's 2 trainers that are assisting the whole state. And then they have a 3rd out of Portland that again is helping everybody. The problem that we are having is when we took over for the state office, they had on average 4 veteran service officers seeing 4 people a day with a extra 3 that they could pull from, and 2 of their management team were also accredited veteran service officers, and they assisted with the more in-depth and challenging cases. They also had an office staff at a minimum of 4 plus work studies and temps to assist them. We've got Chris answering the phones.
So we better be ready to go further.
Yeah,
Jan,
so
I
it's-
look at you. Yeah, you writing it down, little budget item? The other
It's,
good thing, we did put you into some better facilities, and I hope that's working out for you.
that has been very beneficial. Everybody that has come in has praised the new location. And we enjoy it.
Okay,
So it's been very enjoyable.
great.
Well, if they build this veteran housing at the new Y, maybe a whole nother location that would be convenient.
We have myself and the director of the Arches project, Ashley Hamilton, started the conversation with them early on.
Good.
And they had approached us about working and having a space in their office
heard that,
on
Kevin.
occasion.
Oh, the YMCA in downtown Salem is
Yeah.
remodeling, and they're also going to be building some veterans housing. And I was just saying that maybe there's a chance for us to overlap with the veterans housing that's going on as a location. So we'll see how that goes. And you're already talking to them about it, sounds like.
Yeah, they
Good.
approached us early
Great.
on.
Fantastic, good. Well, thank you both for your service to our vets. It's such an important thing.
It's our
Yeah,
pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and thanks for being more efficient than the state.
We take
You are,
pride in that.
yeah. Okay, Number 4 is the Detroit Dam update. I'll give a really quick one because it's my name's next to it. The Army Corps project that we all know that's been going on or potentially going on up there, it is a great example of when the public process works great. The Army Corps was going to drain the lake, do this big tower, and they heard from everybody, the city of Salem, how would it do to them, this town, what it would do to them, and they listened, they came back, they decided to build this water mixing tower in the wet and follow the rule curve. That's a summary of that project.
Which means they will not drain the lake.
Correct. On purpose.
On
anyways.
purpose.
Yeah. And then there's a big, in fact, Commissioner and I were back in Washington, D.C., and Congressman Shader and us are following the water reallocation process that's working its way through Congress. It's too complicated to get into because I don't even understand it all, but we have some risk of water and where that water is going to be allocated to in the future, so we're following that. We're going to actually be bringing on a consultant through Community Services, Tamara's here, that will help us understand the water reallocation project that's going, plus other things on water. And then the third area about Detroit would be the marina projects. As we know water will go down quicker and quicker because of the 2008 BIOP, which forces minimum flows down the dam during periods of the summer and fall. That BIOP is going to be redone. So what we're trying to do is help the marinas actually excavate their marinas, and it would lower the level of the marinas so that in low water years they would be able to operate. For example, this year, one of the marinas had boats out on, I think it was the third week in August, and Detroit Lake actually kept their boats in barely till Labor Day weekend, and their traditional season is gone until the middle of September. So once they excavate those marinas, they would be able to maybe operate under normal seasonal conditions. So it's to mitigate the water issue for recreation behind the dam. We've gone through phase 1 where we've actually used lottery dollars to give them new ramps or help them buy new ramps. And phase 2 and 3, the permits have been filed. One of the permits has been accepted. We're still waiting on some details for the Detroit Lake Marina permit. Once those permits are finalized, then they've got to figure out how to find the funds to be able to go in and excavate those marinas during the winter, basically, when the water's down. So that's the update on the Detroit Lake. And I'll answer questions later after we get through all the rest of these things. 2 more. Actually, one more. Public Works. We always save you to last because don't you have one of the biggest budgets in the county
World?
too? Yeah.
Maybe, yes.
Health Department and you. I see Carrie nodding her head back there.
All right, Brian
Welcome,
Nicholas, thank you. Brian Nicholas, Marion County Public Works Director. So I would like to provide just a brief summary of some of the activities that we have going on out on the roads, work that we are just wrapping up from this summer, as well as what East County residents will experience over the next year. And then talk about some initiatives that kind of apply to everybody countywide. So first, so I've just passed my 9-month anniversary as the Public Works Director. And just a little bit of perspective, we have an 8-person management team at Public Works. Of those 8 people, 5 were not in their current positions a year ago. So this is really a very new management team. Everybody brings a lot of varied strengths and experience, both in public sector work and private sector work. So it's a really great dynamic team. But what it's doing is it lets us take a look at issues from kind of a fresh perspective, and that's a little bit of what some of the update items that I have to share are about. Let's see, chip seal program. So every year we do a resurfacing program called Chip Seal. And it is coming to your area soon. We just completed about 65 miles of chip seal resurfacing. And we kind of move around the county in a pattern. This summer we focused on the area just south of Silverton, north of Almsville. But next summer we are going to be focusing right around Stayton Sublimity area. I mean, we're going to be doing Shaft Road and Fern Ridge and Golf Club Road. So we'll be doing a lot of work right in the Stayton area. It'll be about 60 or 70 miles. In fact, we're reaching as far east as North Fork Road. We'll be chip sealing the entire North Fork Road corridor and Gates Hill Road. That's our county road that is the farthest east. So it's a lot like a conventional paving operation that you'd see. Those are the kind of road impacts that you would tend to see. But we need to do that about every 7 to 10 years to keep the roads in good working order. So when that project comes around next summer, you'll be seeing a lot of press releases about information about what time, when the timing for all of this work will occur, and we'll be posting information on our website. So you'll be able to get some information about when stuff is happening and where it's going to be happening. All right. As the state and city manager mentioned earlier tonight, we've been doing some cooperative programs with cities. One of those is our slurry seal program, and we're going to be continuing that program and expanding it. So for those who weren't here earlier to hear some of the details, slurry sealing is another road treatment that Marion County uses, and it's really good for residential streets. Very cost effective, keeps water out, preserves the pavement. Very cost effective way of treating residential roads. And a few years ago, about 4 years ago, we started teaming up with cities. We budget a certain amount of money every year to do slurry seal in the areas where we work. And we started to team up with first City of Salem, and then we've added other cities along the way. So that we can start to bid larger and larger contracts. And by doing that, we get much better economies of scale. We have very few contractors, local contractors, actually do slurry seals. So the nice thing about those larger contracts is it attracts not only a larger pool of interested contractors, we get better prices that way, but also means, for a city, if a city were to do a slurry seal contract, it might only take a contractor 2 days to knock out what a city would budget for their slurry seal work, which means they're here and gone before you can even write up a punch list of corrections for them to make, right? So what we tend to do is get a contract large enough that we have the contractor here for maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, which lets us do all that follow-up, and we can make sure that they finish all their work, get all the punch lists done before they move on to the next job. So it's nice. It's big enough that we actually get priority service from the contractors that we hire. So this last year we had 4 cities involved. Stayton was one of those, and we're going to continually expand that to offer that service to more and more cities. Been pretty successful. I think we've saved a little bit of money. We get our bid pricing has been about 12% better based on the volume pricing. But like Keith mentioned, the city saw about a 50%, and that's just because of the volume of the work. They would have bid a very small package if they didn't have access to that larger contract. So we're looking for ways that we can start to team up and add those services, provide those teaming opportunities and services to some of our local governmental partners like that. Another example, we do a large paving contract, actually multiple paving contracts, so that we can get more than just one contractor in the pool to do our contract work over the summer. And last year, City of Mill City got funding from ODOT from a program called Small City Allotment. And it's dedicated for cities that have a population of less than $5,000. Gives them money that they can at least keep their streets paved. Well, the problem with that program for a city like Mill City is they don't have the engineering resources to put that contract out on the street. They're joining in on a resurfacing contract, so that so just like the slurry seal, they have access to a contracting vehicle and they can get the work done for the budget they have available. So those are some of the things that we're working on. 2 other things I kind of want to put out for general interest for folks. We have a website link that's called Report a Concern. So if you go to the Marion County Public Works website, right on the front page of the website, there's a menu on the left-hand side. The bottom link on that website says Report a Concern. And you click on that and it'll give you access to a number of different emails where you can send us an email, give us some information about things that you observe out on the road. We can't be everywhere all the time. So we really count on citizens to feed us information where they see problems. And these are roads that you live on day to day. We're maintaining them, but we don't have the same kind of relationship with the road that you live on that you do. So it's really helpful when folks tell us about things that they see going on the road. Just last month, I think we completed some valve box repairs here on First Street in Stayton, I think up on Cascade Highway in Sublimity. And that first hit my radar screen. My understanding is it's been a problem for a few years now. Well, first hit my radar screen when somebody sent us a report of concern. And that was the first time I heard that that was an issue. We got those taken care of because it was something that hit our radar screen. And that's one of the things with having a new leadership.
I nagged
team.
you a little too. Let's be
Yes, well, and that's true. Yes, Commissioner Brantano made sure we understood the priority on that list because it's been at least 2 years before, maybe
There was
3
a
or 4.
slalom course going around it. You had to know how to drive it.
Yes. So I'd encourage folks to tell us what's happening out on the road. Some issues are more complex and take more time to deal with than others, but if we don't know that they're there, we don't even know that there may be something aggravating you that we have no idea about or just haven't recognized. So that's a big, big help to us. And the final thing is we get a lot of complaints about speeding drivers, people that drive in an unsafe fashion, and there has been limited resources, limited tools that cities and counties can put on addressing those kinds of concerns, at least from an infrastructure perspective. In this last legislative session, legislature passed a bill, House Bill 3213, which for the first time creates a pilot program for counties to develop a road corridor safety program, something very akin to the ODOT safety corridors that you see out on the state highway. In fact, it directs ODOT to go ahead and create this pilot program. 5 counties will be allowed to join into that. We've been working with ODOT to make sure that Marion County is one of those counties. And so we're going to be going through a pilot process over the next year and a half to develop a county level safety corridor program. And the idea is it'll provide all those same resources and tools that ODOT uses, like special signing to identify this as a safety corridor, as well as double fines for traffic violations. So some pretty significant tools over and above what we can just normally do with signing and striping and that sort of thing. So it is coming, I guess is what my message is. We're dedicated to make that pilot program a success and make sure that we do have a program at the end of that pilot program that we can begin to roll out countywide. All right, I think I've used my 5 minutes, so.
So before I open up for discussion, we have several department heads here. And maybe you could just stand up and introduce yourself and or even come up to the microphone one at a time and just say your department and some of the areas that you are part of. Carrie, you want to do that first? And Tamara, I see Tamara's here, and who else is here?
Bill and Paige.
Bill's here. Yeah, just take a minute and just introduce yourself.
Good evening, I'm Carrie Muller, and I'm the administrator for
You pull up, yeah.
Marion County Health and Human Services. We provide both behavioral health, public health, intellectual and developmental disability services to the citizens of Marion County. 450 employees in the department. And this month, recognized by the board's office as Suicide Prevention Month. So we're doing a lot of community-based work, including a walk this weekend, Out of the Darkness Walk, to support the efforts around suicide prevention. So you've heard a little bit about some of the other programs and individuals that work in our department, that really dynamic group of individuals. And I'll just close by saying I am a resident of this community. My children and my partner and I have been here for more than 30 years, and we've raised our 2 kids in this community. So I'm very pleased and honored to be here tonight with you all.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks for all the good work your people do, right?
Good evening. I'm Tamara Getch. I'm the Director for Community Services, and we have a wide variety of programming that is within our department. Our department oversees the operations of our Marion County Dog Shelter. We also provide management and administration for all of the county's lottery dollars. So those dollars get reinvested in our community through our economic development program. We operate the Marion County Fair, which we are currently looking for volunteers we're always looking for volunteers to help with this event, as well as we're currently seeking individuals who would like to be either a board member, which has a certain level of commitment, or a key volunteer that helps us throughout the year. So that's an application process that community members around the county, we seek people who would want to put extra time in on that. We also have a Children and Families Commission, and we are really focused on providing leadership around how to promote and support kids and families in this community. And I think earlier tonight, Commissioner Cameron mentioned outward mindset, and we're using our leadership within the 25 different organizations that sit on this commission to serve our community and look at ways that we can see others' needs, hopes, and dreams, and use our influence, our support systems to provide services to them in ways that matter. And then we also have we are working closely with the board's office on the re-entry services and supports. And then if there's anything else
Did you do economic development?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So that's what we
Right.
do. Let me know if you have
Yeah.
questions.
And you'll be here. Thank you. Paige, you or Bill next?
Okay, I'll get up there. Thought Bill was next. Wasn't prepared to walk up. Good evening. My name is Paige Clarkson, and I'm the district attorney here in Marion County. I look around, I feel like there might be more county people than there are. So most of you know that. Well, hello again. It's lovely to see you all. But for those of you that don't know what we do at the district attorney's office, we work really in partnership with all of the law enforcement agencies in our county. Our job is accountability, making sure that after an arrest that we hold folks accountable within the criminal justice system. And that means really all levels of accountability. So the LEAD program that was so eloquently described earlier, that is a program that started in a collaboration between the county commissioners, the sheriff's office, Salem PD, and my office. Those programs don't work without the district attorney's input and our willingness to actually identify cases that need to be put into those kinds of jail diversion programs and community treatment programs. On the other end of accountability, a good example would be a trial that was just completed and sentenced today. We had a escape attempt at our jail that resulted in a really brutal beating of a corrections deputy who was seriously injured in that escape attempt. And one of the individuals who did that was just convicted last week after a week-long trial and sentenced today to over 16 years in prison, which is in addition to what he was already serving. And so he's going to be there, quite frankly, for the rest of his life. So our levels of accountability reach all of that. They stretch from partnering with our community to make sure that we're making people better that can get better, all the way to the other end of making sure that those folks that intend to hurt folks in our community don't have an opportunity to do that ever again. I can't say with any greater pride how much of a privilege it is to serve in my job and to work with the folks that work in my office that are committed to keeping our community safe every day through these efforts of accountability. It is truly the best career I could have chosen and exactly where I am supposed to be. And I really do consider it a privilege to serve this community in doing that. So,
Thanks, Paige.
anything else?
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
great.
All right, thank you.
Great. Appreciate the collaboration. Bill, welcome.
Well, good evening and thanks for coming out. I'm Bill Burgess, your Marion County Clerk. And this is, well, yesterday was National Voter Registration Day. This is Voter Registration Week, and it's also Voter Registration Month. And why is that important? Well, accountability, holding us accountable for one thing, but to make sure that democracy works, we all need to be out there and voting. One thing that's really important to make sure to get the right ballot to the right person in a timely manner is that you check to make sure that your voter registration is up to date. You can do that easily at oregonvotes.gov/myvote. Or you can just remember oregonvotes.gov is close enough. If you can't remember that, just Google Marion County Clerk and call us and we'll help you out with that. The reason that is important, again, is that because sometimes people's address changes, but they didn't get it to us, or they've changed their party preferences, or they got mad at a certain party and changed their preferences once, but now they're feeling different again, and I want to be sure to get the right ballot in this primary to you. So many people just swear up and down that they've never been registered a certain way, and then we show the screen to them and show when they did it and all. And so they're a little bit chagrined, but I don't want any of you here to be chagrined. I want you to get the ballot you want in a timely manner. If indeed there is a problem, though, we can always get things updated all the way till 8 o'clock on election night for certain things. Party preference, though, for this May election has to be done at least 21 days before the election, so don't wait. Another thing in the elections world, you probably hear on national news and even from our own U.S. senators from Oregon about election security. You've got to know, though, that we have never had an election tampering incident like they're talking about in the news in the same way here in Oregon. We have a very good system. It's a paper-based system. Our tabulation machines are not connected to the internet, so it makes it very hard for somebody to hack into those. And besides, when we have the paper-based trail, we can always check later on to find out, to assure that the counting is correct. If there is any question, and we do audits, the real numbers for an election don't come out for 20 days. Now, there is some concern about some people hacking into county websites or hacking into state websites and maybe putting up improper numbers or
Bill,
making.
for timing, can you just talk about what else
Sure.
your office does?
Okay, just to let you know that if you've got any questions of those, check with us. We've got a very secure system. The other things we do, passports. We're the best place in the state to come get a passport. Come to Marion County Clerk's office up on the second floor. We're experts at it. No appointment needed. Marriage licenses. Our marriage licenses, you get one in Marion County, it's good all over Oregon for having your ceremony. Then, of course, the marriage license is good everywhere. The other two more things: recording of documents like mortgages and deeds. Come to us. Sometimes people get well, of course, you have to should come to us anyhow, but some people are getting mailings from an outfit on Market Street in Salem saying, hey, we'll get you a copy of your mortgage or a copy of your deed for just $80. Well, please don't fall for that. Come to us and we'll give it to you for 25 cents a page. The other thing that is really important is your tax statements will be coming out soon. Board of Property Tax Appeals are filed through our office. We always ask people to first work with the assessor to see if you can work things out. Before you go through that process, you have till December 31st to apply for that, and then our hearings will start in February. Any questions about the clerk's office, please give us a call. We're anxious to help you. Oh, and one more thing, I'm sorry, Mr. Cameron, one more thing that I really needed to say was our county, our whole county, did a culture study. And we're one of the best places to work because we're full of people that really like their jobs and like serving other people. And I'm sure some people can tell us more about that later on, but that cultural study, I think, was very instructive of the type of people that we bring to our county and the kind of service that we want to deliver to our public.
Hey, thanks for bringing that up. We have one other really important person here, a local superstar. Jan Fritz is our new Chief Administrative Officer, and we want to recognize Jan. You want to say some words?
Yes, I live in Sublimity. My kids graduated from Regis. They went to Sublimity Middle School. Let's see, I was on the Library Foundation Board when we built this revised library and expanded it. I was on the Regis Foundation Board, Chamber Board, City Councilor in Sublimity for 10 years. What else? Planning Commission for 3. So it's a great community. I love it. Our family loves it. And we're happy to be here. Thank you.
Were you supposed to say something nice, how great it is to work now?
Did you say how
great
long
to
you've
live
worked
here.
for? Did you say how long you've worked for Marion County?
25 years.
All right. Right.
It went by just like that.
We're really blessed to have Jan take over for John Latimer, who just retired. What, July 1 or
Yep.
June 30th?
June 30.
So, and there's a good leadership team as you got to meet some of these people. So we are going to open it up for speakers. There's 3 people that have signed up to speak or to ask questions. And so if you can come over to the side here, I'm going to call the first person as Jennifer. Is it Maggie? McGee?
Actually, we're kind of, but we have the same issue. So
Okay, Cassie, is it Cassie and Jennifer? Come on up, welcome. And for the record, if you just introduce yourself, that'd be great. And introduce yourself with your name and where you live. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Cassie Farm, and I live in Salem, in Northeast Salem, right by North Salem High School.
And I'm Jennifer McGee, and I live on the other side of Market from Cassie, and in Salem.
Great.
I'm having
Welcome.
trouble hearing you.
Thank
If you
you.
could.
Yeah, speak up because the microphones don't magnify, they just pick up for recording. Yeah.
So we have an issue with the lack of dog control laws and the lack of a specific law enforcement officer to go out and investigate animal abuse cases or abandonment and neglect. For instance, on August 3rd, I responded to a dog sighting that we originally thought was a sighting. And I've gone out in the community hundreds of times, rescue dogs and take them to the shelter or foster them until their homes are found.
And let them know that you are with
Oh, yes.
Lost and
And
Found.
I am a volunteer with the Lost and Found Pets of Salem. Been that for like about 3.5, 4 years. Well, this dog that we picked up on August 3rd, when we got to the place, the house had been abandoned and it was gross. And it was clear that no one was coming back for this dog. And the neighbors said that they had seen it roaming around for about 2 days or so. And so it's like no one bothered to even contact anyone about the dog. So I was able to get the dog. I got her in my car and I took her to Marion County Dog Control because I was in case this is abandonment. Hopefully law enforcement will be able to track down the human responsible for this. And the dog, she was super scared, starved, thirsty.
Bones, then.
Yeah, you can see her ribs clearly. Like this dog was malnourished. So I didn't feel comfortable taking her to my house to foster her. So I took her straight to Marion County, told the people at intake, the dog was abandoned. It's a bad situation. Just be really careful with her. She just needs a calm, quiet place to relax and be safe. And before I left, I bent down, got at eye level with the dog, and I told her, honey, you're safe now. You're going to have food, water, and you're okay. Well, that was on a Saturday. 3 days later, I got a call from Anne, who is the director of Marion County Dog Control. she told me she wanted to know more about this dog that I had dropped off because she wasn't doing well. And I was super concerned and told her she's been on my mind constantly. I was hoping she was okay. Have you found the owners? She said no, and, you know, we're not going to look for the owners. And I was like, well, someone needs to be held responsible. Anyways, long story short, this dog was put down. They felt she was damaged beyond repair, which is not the case. I told Anne I would have adopted this dog, paid whatever fees they wanted. I would have had a rescue, sponsor her. I would foster her under any conditions, you know, whatever this dog needed. She was put down. She was euthanized because they didn't feel she was safe for our community. And I feel that is very wrong. And it needs to be more than just one or two people that make the decision on putting a dog down. And we need to have people that are going to go out and go after the humans responsible. Because I contacted the officer who responded to the welfare check of this house. And she was super nice. Officer Wanatabi was her name. And I was like, hey, I'm the one who responded to this. I picked up the dog, took her to county. Were you able to locate the owners? And she's like, oh, sorry. The landlord had old contact information. Case is closed. And I was like, I want to pursue charges. I want to go after this person. This dog was put down because of this. And she said, sorry, there's nothing they can do. They referred me to the Marion County Dog Control for them to pursue charges. I spoke with Anne, and no one looked into it. And I've emailed you guys. I'm sure you've read my email. I emailed you quite a long story about it. And Jolene, your assistant, responded. She was really nice. But the public needs to know that this is going on. And Oregon is a kill state. We're not a no-kill state like a lot of people feel we are because we bring it from out of state. Our kill time frame is 5 days. That's not enough for a dog to recover and be able to be rehabilitated and introduced back into the community.
And if I might just, I'll try and be succinct. Years past, I've lived in my house for over 25 years, I think 20 years. And a long time ago, there was a law enforcement officer that was specific to abuse and neglect to, I assume, I'm guessing horses, whether it's farm animals or domestic animals. And I had occasion once to call that officer, and it was a very tragic experience for the animal, but the officer was amazing, and that was his job. And I'm sure that if things were slow, they used him in other areas, but his job was to go out to these abuse and neglect cases. And I'm not sure where that position went. I know it was, this was before Marion County had a dog control, and it was contracted through the Humane Society. But I would like, I don't know how all of this works, but I just really feel like that's an important position. So my goal in being here personally is to see what if there's any way possible to either allocate a specific sheriff, like with the sheriffs we saw come that go to the schools, that one can be allocated for that. I don't know what the city would do, but as for the shelter, one time I called the shelter. I said, who deals with this? And the shelter said to call the sheriff's office. And I called the sheriff's office, and they said, call the dog control. So
no one knows who to contact.
There could be somebody to at least, and that's my big picture goal, hope, would be to have that officer. And the other one is to find out for this specific dog, if there could be some accountability to, because surely, because you can look on the county records, it's a landlord that owns that building that was abandoned, and surely that landlord had social security numbers or driver's license numbers or some way to find. Anyway, I would like justice for that animal, because I feel like I betrayed that animal. And I don't know how to get the ball rolling, but I just feel like I needed to do that.
I just want to say thank you, Cassie, for what you did for that dog.
I took her to her death. I didn't do her justice.
Well, she was going to die. At least you loved her a little bit, huh? I mean, if you didn't pick her up and you didn't take care of her, and you gave her some food or water, that dog was going to die.
Possibly.
It was gonna-
Yeah.
and she
I've
could die a
rescued
worse
many
dog.
dogs over the years,
Worse
and
dog.
like I've had aggressive dogs. Like I've gotten dogs straight off of transport from California that they're aggressive. We couldn't feed them on transport. Be really careful. And I was like, okay, I'm cautious with every dog I meet and stuff. But I've seen the aggressive dog that wants to kill you supposedly, and I've gotten them to my house, given them just a little bit of time and quietness, and then they just open up, and that's what they need. So if people are going to work at the dog control, they need to be animal people, and you can't just be a cat person and work with dogs.
Well, and I haven't spoken to Anne. I will now
Good.
that
Thank
I've heard
you.
from you, and I'm sure the
And
other
I
commissioners
want
will
to
too.
say, in her defense, I had a very good conversation with Ann, and I know that that's a really impossible position to be in.
Right.
I do really think that a different decision should have been made, but I have no personal grudges to Ann.
Well, and that's something that I was going to say is, well, you've met a lot of the folks who work at Marion County here tonight, and I would say our people are very dedicated, and
Well, it
one
needs
of
to
the
be
things
more
that-
transparent.
One of the things that
It's-
we're, and I'm not talking about this particular instance, but I would say, as by and large, right, as a whole, I've been incredibly impressed with just the heart that people have at Marion County, and I think it was mentioned, we just did a survey because, we don't always know what's going on in our own. And there's over 1,500 employees in Marion County, and so we actually brought somebody in to do confidential surveys to tell us where we need to grow, and one of the things that came back was people felt really good about working for Marion County. That was one of the positive things. And the reason they felt really good about it was they really felt proud about serving their community. And that was something that really motivated, motivates all of us to go to work every day.
That's
and it's something
important.
that we
I
really
agree.
feel strongly about. So that doesn't mean we always get it right. Right? And I think all of us would say sometimes we make mistakes. I just am not sure if this is that case or not. So when I talk to Ann, I'm going to kind of ask her. I'm going to say, hey, what happened here? Why did you make these decisions, right? And she might say, well, this is why. And then, we can come back and
She'll
kind of share
have a
that
good explanation, but how do we solve?
We want this to stop.
Humane Society's bringing in animals from Hawaii and California and the Southeast, and we're putting down 100 plus dogs a year in our
Just
county.
in Marion County.
So how can we save our animal? I mean, any dog is a precious. Proverbs 12:10. A righteous man has regard for the life of his beast. Any beast, absolutely. But how do we? It seems like there could be more work with the Humane Society. The Humane Society's gone from killing. I did search and rescue, canine search and rescue with the lady who used to put down hundreds of animals a day. She worked at the Humane Society, and that's what she did. She euthanized animals. They've gone from putting down a whole bunch to a whole lot less to training. And it seems if those two organizations could work more closely together, if they have room to bring in animals from Texas and California and Hawaii, they could have brought Emma over and worked with her because they're doing a lot of work at the Humane Society. And so I think that I don't have all the answers, but if there's something that I can do to be useful and helpful in this is something that's important to me.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your bringing the issue up. And I know we have another individual scheduled to speak. Why don't we let Dan, but I know the sheriff probably has some response. He'll want to get your contact
Oh, yeah.
information
I'll
and
get his too.
Tamara as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Dan Morgan, you want to come on over and introduce yourself for the record and welcome?
Hi, I'm Dan Morgan. I live at 2195 Cardinal Avenue here in Stayton. And about 5 years ago, we unfortunately moved to Stayton. And for the first year or so, I kept noticing along Golf Club Road that no one was taking care of maintaining the right-of-ways along that road. After about the first year, I tried to get involved. I drove up to the county facility on Cordon Road and talked with a lady named Evelyn, and she was in charge of that department, and she assured me that if I could keep communicating with her, she would get something done. So I kind of set that as a goal that I wanted to beautify our town and beautify the entranceway into our town. And so the first Monday of every month, about 10 o'clock in the morning, I would call Evelyn and ask her where she was at on getting this done. And it seemed like every month she had a different reason why. Our machines broke down, we're waiting on parts. Our flaggers are on vacation, we don't have the manpower. And so this went on for like a year and a half. Every Monday morning, about 10 o'clock, I would call her and get some type of an excuse. Finally, she did tell me, I'm sending a crew out. And I said, great. And I heard that crew over there doing some work, so I drove over. My curiosity had what they were doing. They were actually mowing the blackberries on Shaft Road and Golf Club Road, the corner. And I said, well, great. When you get this done, you're going to do up and down Golf Club Road out to 22, are you not? No, we were just told to do this area. And I said, well, great. So I went back. Come Monday, I called. And sorry, that's all the time we had to do. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. This went on for a couple of years, and I called Evan on, I think it was probably an August morning at 10 o'clock. And guess what, Dan? I'm retiring. She said, I'll give you the name of the person that's taking charge. And I said, great. I said, I'm going to be pestering him just as I pestered you. I should warn you, I tell long stories, so bear with me, please, because hopefully you can see my frustration in this. So I started calling him the first morning of every month. And I got excuse after excuse after excuse. The latest excuse I got was, well, we're just ready, we've had weather problems, we've had road crews out cleaning roads, and I can understand all that. But this excuse was, we're starting our rock chip sealing program, and it's going to be fall now before we can do anything to it. We're out, have all our crews out rock chip sealing. Okay, I can buy that. I'll give you the summer off, and I'll get back to you this fall. I go up to Prattam School every Tuesday afternoon to pick up my grandson, and after my Monday conversation with him, lo and behold, Tuesday as I went up to Prattam School, here was the mower and two flaggers mowing the right-of-way into Shaft off of 22. And I thought, well, gosh, there has to be more revenue coming into the county from Stayton than the city of Shaft. And why has this been now going on for a couple, 3 years? Am I not getting any response? I'm going to let it go. I don't want to get him in trouble. I'm going to let it go. The next Tuesday, when I went up to get my grandson from Prattam, where was the mower and flagging crew? Been on Sunnyview Road between Hell Prairie and Cascade Highway. And I just shook my head in disbelief. I was lied to. I was told a story, the same story I'd heard for several years now. So I came back to state and I went to the city council. They said it's a county problem. I went to our police chief. I went to our city manager. He assured me he would write a letter to you folks and we would get something done. As of this day, 5 years later, nothing has been done. Luckily, we have semi-trucks that go up and down Golf Club that keep the brush knocked back and so forth. But the city of Stayton is trying to revitalize their downtown. They're trying to get tourists to come into town, and they're trying to make a better impression of the city of Stayton, and they sure don't do it, in my opinion, on not doing Golf Club Road. I even went to a breakfast meeting or just a general meeting, at a monthly meeting, I think it is, at the Covered Bridge Cafe, and told the commissioners that were at that meeting. It's been a couple years now, my same problems. I did this long explanation of what I felt was a problem that should be taken care of on a county level. And as of this day, they still haven't been back. Nothing has been done along Golf Club Road. I wish it'd still be light out so you folks could take that street back to State or back to Salem and see my frustration in getting something done on making this entryway to our city a better looking area.
Thank you. Brian,
Well,
do you want to?
Dan, thank you. I drove in on Golf Club Road today, and I'm trying to, maybe I need to have my eyes opened as to, is it the ditches or is it the?
Well, it's the whole, both sides of the road, all the way from 22 to Shaft. There's blackberries, there's brush. Even along the golf club, you would think would want the ditch done there. Their golf club is really nice, really well maintained and everything. But yet, in the greater ditches, you've got this row of weeds and so forth. It's just isn't appealing to me as a resident of Stayton that nothing in this 5-year period has been able to be done about this.
Yeah, vegetation is a constant battle because it's always growing. So actually, our operations manager is here, and I know we're going to want to talk to you a little bit more about exactly what you're experiencing. In general, we are a rural road department, and so we maintain vegetation really for 3 purposes. 1, keep ditches open so they'll carry water. Keep brush back away from the roadway for line of sight visibility, traffic safety, people can see outside their driveways, that sort of thing, and for noxious weed control. So those are really the 3 things that we're trying to achieve with our vegetation control, because we're not an urban road department. So you don't see flowers and ornamental plants and that sort of thing in the county right away. But, so it could be a little bit of expectations, a little different between expectations and how we typically manage our vegetation. But I would like to meet with you afterwards and be more detail on exactly what you've experienced and see if we can't close that gap.
Sheriff, you got a spotlight on your vehicle tonight? Sheriff? Oh, you don't have one of those. I wanted to follow you and you could spotlight the road when I go out. So well, obviously, next time I drive the road, I'm gonna look at it a different way too. It's just.
Well, thanks for your consideration.
Thank you.
No, I don't want to make light of it. Everybody sees things different. I drive it all the time. I never noticed anything, but I will now, and certainly we can look at it and make it better.
Okay, maybe it's something we can work with the city on too.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so anybody else would like to make comments or ask questions? The microphone is open.
Throw paper at us?
Throw paper at us, yeah. So Sheriff, did you or Commander?
Commander's out here talking to the folks to take care of it. We're talking about the options that we've had in the past, including the Humane Society and stuff.
Okay.
And then what we may be able to do at some point in the future. And he's out there with Tamara as well.
Yeah, and I know, I know, and one of the things I wrote down was, our limited resources and priorities, and I know that we've prosecuted people for animal abuse in Marion County, and so if there was an issue that came to us that we could do something about.
Yes, our deputies do those investigations. It's prioritized based on all the other investigations going on.
Right.
And in the past, we have had the Humane Society that has had people focused on doing those types of things. And then we've actually had deputies who've been trained in the past as well, but that's the kind of things we'll be talking about with these folks out here as well. But if someone's seeing that, if you're seeing those types of issues, do call it into dispatch and we can have somebody take a look at it, or at least find the proper jurisdiction, have someone take a look at it, abuse and things like that for the dogs or any animals.
All right.
The state also has a resource prosecutor that is dedicated solely to animal abuse and neglect. And it's a state-funded, grant-funded position. So when there are cases
one position?
It's one for the state.
Yeah.
He's very busy, but it's a really great resource for us because sometimes with our caseloads we don't have the time to dedicate to those cases, and they're time-consuming.
Yeah.
They're complicated, and so we have a really great resource at the state. It's a really good collaboration, so that helps too.
Okay, good. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? You got our ears. You can always send us an email. You can always call our office.
Wayne, you got something to say. Just, you came for a reason. No?
No?
Just to see your smiling face.
Well, no comment? I probably should do that more often too. Just no comment. We just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank our staff, the leaders, the 1,700 employees at Marion County that serve our citizens every day. The dedication that they have is appreciated. And for the citizens that are here tonight, took time out. Those that are watching on Facebook Live, you can email us at what's the general email?
Commissioners.
Commissioners at county.
Okay, Cameron, have them all go that way.
Yeah. It seems like it. I think I'm the first one up on the voicemail when you get to the office and nobody answers. But commissioners at county.marion.or.us, and you can email us there. You can call our office at 503-588-5212. And we certainly have people that want to hear any issues or concern. I think, like Brian said, Public Works, there's a place you can go in and report things. We certainly want to do that. I want to acknowledge Public Works. It used to be we got, I think it seemed like weekly or twice a week we would get some issue that would come to us, and here tonight one came to us. But those issues have really dropped down because our Public Works is being responsive and listening and being proactive to that. And all our department heads want to serve, and our employees do too. So thank you very much for being here tonight, and we will.
Well, I don't want to let him off the hook yet, because Wayne Lerman's sitting back there,
All right.
former mayor. He knows everything that happened in Stayton forever, and I just can't believe he wouldn't say something. Last chance.
No comment.
No comment.
Okay, I gave you every opportunity.
A former politician that knows when to say no comment, right? Great. Well, thank you everybody for being here tonight, and we will adjourn our town hall.